It was the start of my 10th grade year. I had been feeling weird for a few days, like everything was offbeat. It wasn't until I talked with my friends about it that it first occurred to me that I might be pregnant. My friend got me a pregnancy test and brought it to school for me the next day. As soon as I walked out of the bathroom and headed towards my friends at the lunch table, they knew something was wrong. I sat down, told them the results, and started to cry. I had all these emotions just came rushing through me. I didn't know what to think. I had all these questions. How am I going to tell him? How am I going to tell my parents? How are they going to react? What am I going to do with the baby? And how bad are people going to talk about me and judge me? So many questions, but no answers. I was scared to go home that night. I didn't want my parents to hate me or to disown me. After school, I went home. I called him and told him the news. He wasn't happy. He seemed to just want to run away from the situation and not even care. I told my mom that night too. I told her not to tell Dad, but how could she not tell him? He eventually found out. My dad and I didn't talk for days and days, and even if we did, we would just argue. Thought he didn't love me anymore. One day we had a really bad fight and he told me to get out, so I did. But after I left and he found out where I was living in a house with no lights, he told my mom, "I can't let my daughter live like that. Tell her to come back home." I came back home the next day. My dad and I made up and went back to the normal us. Eventually, my friends ended up telling other people who told others. Pretty soon, the whole school found out. Everyone was looking at me like, oh, of course she would end up pregnant, nothing new. I didn't even want to go to school anymore after that. My grades were already C's and D's, so what was the point anymore? I hate being judged. People wouldn't even talk to me anymore. After being pregnant for a few months, my parents found a nice house out in Rossay, and we moved out here. Even out here, people thought I was pregnant, but I denied it because I didn't want to be judged right away. Some people were telling others that I only moved out here because I was pregnant, which wasn't true. I just wanted people to know me for me and not judge me because I was pregnant. Sooner or later, everyone found out that I really was pregnant. I couldn't hide my stomach forever. I soon found out that I was going to have a girl, and I named the baby Shelby. Being pregnant at this age comes with complications. I had a few problems while I was pregnant. One day at home while I was on bed rest, Shelby stopped moving. I thought she was fine, but the next day, she still wasn't moving. I went into the hospital with just my dad because the day before, my mom had her gallbladder taken out. I ended up having an emergency C-section because Shelby was under a ton of stress. I was crying so much that I needed an oxygen mask. My dad had to step out of the room while they were getting me ready for surgery. He was getting mad too because he didn't like to see me crying, scared, or hurt. Nobody was able to be in the operating room with me. I had an epidural in my spine so that I wasn't able to feel anything from the waist down. I was awake behind a blue curtain while they cut me open and pulled Shelby out. They pushed so hard on my ribs that I couldn't even breathe. I only got to see my daughter for about a minute or two before they had to take her upstairs to the nursery. But in the end, Shelby was okay. It's been 10 months now since Shelby was born, and I love her. I don't regret having Shelby, I just regret having her so young. I've given up a lot for her, but I wouldn't want it any other way. She has changed my life for the better. I would be going down the wrong path in my life if it wasn't for her, and I'm thankful for that.